Hey there, travel enthusiasts! Are you ready to fall in love with your next travel getaway? Welcome to the Big Easy. That's right, we're traveling to New Orleans. Get lost in the vibrant streets of the French Quarter, feel the electric buzz of Bourbon Street and indulge in the legendary beignets at Café du Monde, and that's just the beginning. From jazz tunes to historic haunts, New Orleans is calling your name. So pack your bags and join us as we uncover the magic of this unforgettable destination. It's time to explore the Crescent City. Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to Travel Getaways. We're about to embark on a journey to a city that needs no introduction. Buckle up, because we're dropping into the heart and soul of Louisiana. That's right, we're talking about New Orleans. Forget Bourbon Street, we're going deeper. We're diving into the cultural melting pot that is NOLA, exploring the French Quarter's iconic architecture and the Garden District's stunning mansions, stuffing our faces with beignets, jambalaya, and all the po' boys we can handle. No trip to New Orleans is complete without some sweet, sweet jazz. Ready for an adventure? Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. Trust me, this is going to be epic. Alright, we're kicking things off in the one and only French Quarter, the oldest neighborhood in New Orleans. This place is like stepping into a time capsule with cobblestone streets, wrought-iron balconies overflowing with flowers, and buildings that have seen centuries of history. You can practically feel the energy here, the spirit of the people who came before us. And trust me, this place has seen it all. From pirates to poets, musicians to Mardi Gras madness, the French Quarter has been at the heart of it all. We're talking about a place where jazz was born, where voodoo still whispers in the shadows, and where every building has a story to tell. So stay alert and attentive, because you never know what you might discover in the Crescent City. This is the real deal, people. This is where the soul of New Orleans comes alive. So let's ditch the map, lose ourselves in the maze of streets, and see where the day takes us. First things first, we gotta talk about the food. And in the French Quarter, that means one thing: beignet. We're talking about these fluffy squares of fried dough, generously dusted with powdered sugar, that are basically little pillows of heaven in your mouth. We're headed to Café du Monde, the most iconic spot in the quarter, to get our sugar fix. This place has been serving up beignets and coffee since the Civil War, so you know they're doing something right. Afterward, we're gonna wander through Jackson Square, check out the artists selling their wares, maybe catch a tarot card reading or two, soak up the vibe, and then maybe grab a drink at one of the countless bars and just listen to the music spill out onto the streets. Because that's the thing about the French Quarter, it's a feast for the senses. Every corner you turn, there's something new to see, smell, hear, and taste. And that's what makes it so damn magical. Alright, we're hopping on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar, one of the oldest continuously operating streetcar lines in the world, and heading uptown to the Garden District. This is a different side of New Orleans, a little more laid back, a little more refined. But don't let the tranquility fool you. This neighborhood is bursting with history and personality. We're talking about sprawling mansions with wraparound porches, lush gardens overflowing with magnolias and oak trees draped in Spanish moss. It's like stepping into a fairy tale. These homes, many built before the Civil War, are architectural masterpieces, each one more impressive than the last. And the stories behind them? Well, let's just say they're full of intrigue, scandal, and good old-fashioned Southern charm. We're gonna spend the afternoon strolling down these oak-lined streets, admiring the architecture, and maybe even peeking into a few courtyards. Now, we're stepping into a different kind of garden, Lafayette Cemetery No. 1, one of the oldest and most beautiful cemeteries in New Orleans. Now, I know what you're thinking, a cemetery? But trust me on this one, this isn't your typical graveyard. It's a city of the dead, with elaborate above-ground tombs, crumbling mausoleums, and overgrown pathways. It's hauntingly beautiful, a testament to the city's rich history and unique burial traditions. We're going to wander through the rows of tombs, reading the inscriptions, and learning about the lives of the people who are laid to rest here. And who knows, we might even feel a few chills down our spines. Because let's be real, New Orleans is a city steeped in history, and that includes its fair share of ghost stories. So keep your eyes peeled and your ears open. You never know who or what we might encounter. All right, so we're leaving the pretty streets behind for a bit. Gotta mix it up, you know? We're headed to the National WW2 Museum. Now, I know what you're thinking. A museum? Really, come on. But trust me on this one. This isn't your grandma's dusty old museum, all right? This place is immersive, it's powerful, it's like stepping right back into history. You walk in and you're surrounded by these towering tanks, planes hanging from the ceiling. You can practically hear the rumble of the engines, feel the weight of history pressing down on you. And the stories they tell, man. Stories of courage, of sacrifice, of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. It's heavy stuff, but important, you know? One of the things that really got to me was this exhibit on the home front. It wasn't just the soldiers fighting this war, it was the entire nation. Women stepped up, took on factory jobs, rationing, scrap drives, everyone pitched in. The museum captures that perfectly. They even have this interactive experience where you can train like a paratrooper. It's intense, man. And then there's the personal stories, letters, diaries, photographs. You see the faces, hear their voices. It brings it all home. You walk out changed. Okay, let's be real, you can't come to New Orleans and not experience Bourbon Street. It's like the heartbeat of the city, pulsing with energy, music spilling out from every doorway. It's loud, it's chaotic, it's a sensory overload in the best possible way. Day or night, Bourbon Street is buzzing. You've got street performers, musicians, artists, all showing off their craft. The smell of Cajun food hits you first, spicy and savory, then the sounds, jazz, blues, laughter, all blending together in this beautiful symphony of chaos. And the people. Tourists from all over the world, locals letting loose, bachelorette parties, guys on a weekend trip. Everyone's there to have a good time. It's a melting pot of humanity, all united by this desire to let loose, to forget their worries, to just exist in the moment. Look, I'm not gonna lie, Bourbon Street isn't for everyone. It's crowded, it's loud, it can be a little overwhelming. But there's an energy there, a pulse that's infectious. Now, Bourbon Street has a reputation, right? Beads, booze, and debauchery. And yeah, you'll find plenty of that. But if you look past the surface, you'll find something more. You'll find history, culture, a city that knows how to party, but also knows how to preserve its soul. Take a walk down the street, soak in the atmosphere. You'll see some of the most beautiful architecture in the city, wrought-iron balconies, gas lamps, buildings that have stood for centuries, witnessing the evolution of this iconic street. Duck into one of the jazz clubs, find a spot at the bar, and just listen. New Orleans is the birthplace of jazz, and you can feel that legacy in every note. These musicians, they're not just playing music, they're telling stories, sharing their souls, keeping a tradition alive. Bourbon Street is a trip, man. It's a whirlwind of sights, sounds, and smells. It's not always pretty, not always polite, but it's real. It's New Orleans in its rawest form. After all that craziness on Bourbon Street, we need a little peace, right? So we're heading over to Jackson Square, home to the St. Louis Cathedral. This place has a certain presence. It's a towering white structure in the heart of the French Quarter. Been standing since the 1700s, seen it all. Walking through those massive doors, you feel a sense of history. The inside is just as impressive. Stained glass windows casting colorful light across the pews. Intricate murals on the ceiling. A sense of peace washes over you. Appreciate the beauty, craftsmanship, and history. And the location, right there in Jackson Square. Surrounded by street performers, artists selling their work, horse-drawn carriages waiting to take you on a tour. It's the heart of the French Quarter, the cathedral is the anchor. Now this cathedral, it's not just a pretty face, it's been a symbol of hope for the people of New Orleans for centuries. Through wars, natural disasters, economic hardship, it stood strong. A reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always something bigger than ourselves. After Hurricane Katrina, when the city was devastated, this place became a beacon of hope. People gathered here, found comfort in their faith, in their community. It became a symbol of resilience, of the unbreakable spirit of New Orleans. And that's what's so special about this place. It's more than just a church, it's a symbol of the city itself. It's a reminder of the history, the culture, the spirit that makes New Orleans so unique. Take a walk around, soak it all in, listen to the street musicians, admire the artwork, feel the energy of the city buzzing around you. It's a reminder that even in the midst of chaos, there's beauty to be found, and that's New Orleans in a nutshell. All right, we've been hitting the historical spots, the crazy nightlife, the iconic landmarks. Now it's time to escape the concrete jungle, you know? Time for some green, some fresh air, some peace and quiet. City Park is massive, over 1,300 acres of pure park awesomeness. Ancient oak trees draped in Spanish moss, lagoons you can kayak across, even a freaking sculpture garden. You get to experience it all without the crowds. Find a secluded spot to chill and recharge, rent some bikes, cruise around, maybe check out the botanical gardens. This is New Orleans, so expect the unexpected and a whole lot of fun. So we're cruising through the park, the sun's out, the birds are chirping. Then, bam! We stumble upon this sculpture garden, giant colorful sculptures, abstract shapes twisting against lush greenery. It's like the art is growing right out of the ground. This incredible energy just draws you in. One minute you're biking past a lake, the next a giant metal bird. Maybe even take a few selfies with these crazy sculptures. When in New Orleans, right? Alright, so we've explored the French Quarter, wandered through the Garden District, even survived the craziness of Bourbon Street. But you know what they say? No trip to New Orleans is complete without a visit to the legendary Audubon Zoo. And let me tell you, this ain't your average zoo experience. We're talking about over 2,000 animals from around the world spread across 58 acres of lush habitats. Lions, tigers, bears, oh my. They've got it all, from the majestic to the downright bizarre. But here's the thing that sets Audubon apart. It's not just about looking at animals in cages. They've created these immersive environments that mimic the animals' natural habitats, making you feel like you're right there in the wild with them. We're talking about getting up close and personal with gorillas in their swampy home, watching white alligators glide through the water, even feeding giraffes from a platform. It's an experience that'll stay with you long after you leave the Big Easy. Now, I know what you're thinking. Zoos, animals in captivity, it can be a touchy subject. But Audubon is different. They're not just about entertainment, they're deeply committed to conservation and educating people about the importance of protecting wildlife. They've got breeding programs for endangered species, rescue and rehabilitation centers for injured animals, and they're constantly working on research projects to better understand and protect our planet's biodiversity. And the coolest part? By visiting the zoo, you're directly contributing to these efforts. Your ticket purchase, your souvenir purchases, it all goes back into funding their conservation work. So not only do you get to have an amazing time, see some incredible animals, but you're also making a difference in the world. And that, my friends, is what I call a win-win situation. The sun's setting, the air is thick with anticipation. Welcome to Preservation Hall, the heart and soul of New Orleans jazz. This place is legendary, a living testament to the power of music. When those horns start blaring and that piano starts jumping, you're gonna want to be right here. The walls are lined with photos of jazz legends, and the music will transport you to another dimension. We squeeze into the dimly lit hall, shoulder to shoulder with fellow music lovers, and as the band launches into a soulful melody, the outside world melts away. It's just us, the music, and the ghosts of jazz legends past. The energy in here is electric, a mix of reverence and pure joy. Eyes closed, heads bobbing, feet tapping along to the infectious rhythm. You can feel the history in every note, the weight of tradition, the raw emotion poured into each solo. And that's the beauty of jazz. It's a conversation, a dialogue between the musicians, between the music and the audience. It's raw, it's unpredictable, and it's absolutely captivating. As the last notes fade away and we spill out onto the street, the city feels different, alive with a rhythm that seems to pulsate from every brick and cobblestone. Preservation Hall isn't just a venue, it's a pilgrimage, a reminder of the power of music to connect us across generations and cultures. Alright guys, we're talking Magazine Street. This place is basically a 6-mile stretch of pure New Orleans charm. You've got everything here, vintage clothing stores, antique shops overflowing with weird stuff, art galleries, you name it. Trust me, you're going to want to dedicate a solid chunk of your trip to just wandering down this street. Speaking of wandering, that's really the best way to do Magazine Street. You never know what you're going to find around the next corner. Could be a hidden courtyard tucked away behind a cafe, or a street musician absolutely killing it on a saxophone. Keep your eyes peeled, your phone charged for photos, and be ready for anything. And you know me, I can't resist a good vintage find. Magazine Street is a gold mine, people. Whether you're on the hunt for a classic leather jacket, a first edition comic book, or a vintage record player, chances are you'll find it here. The key is to not get overwhelmed. Take it slow, browse those racks, and don't be afraid to haggle a little. Now you're gonna work up an appetite doing all that shopping, but don't worry, Magazine Street has got you covered on the food front too. So we're talking food, we're talking New Orleans, we're talking Magazine Street. It's a recipe for deliciousness. If you're looking for a quick bite, grab a po' boy. For something a little fancier, check out the upscale restaurants. Coffee break, Magazine Street delivers. And don't miss the beignets, a must-try. All right, we're hitting Frenchmen Street now, and let me tell you, this place is alive. We're talking about the heart and soul of New Orleans music. A constant flow of jazz, blues, funk, you name it. Forget Bourbon Street. This is where the real music lovers hang out. You walk down the street, and music just pours out of every doorway. It's impossible not to get swept up in the energy. The music spills out onto the street. You'll see people dancing on the sidewalks. This is New Orleans at its most authentic. Listen, if you're looking for a wild night out, Frenchmen Street is where it's at. But here's the thing, it's not about getting wasted and making bad decisions. It's about experiencing the soul of New Orleans music, about letting loose and connecting with people through the power of music. The vibe here is electric, especially after dark. The streetlights cast this warm glow, the music gets louder, the energy is palpable. You'll see couples dancing in the streets, groups of friends laughing, strangers bonding over their shared love of music. It's a beautiful thing. And you know me, I'm all about that street food. Frenchmen Street has some killer late-night eats. Grab a slice of pizza, some jambalaya, or whatever catches your eye. You're gonna need to keep your energy up because this is a marathon, not a sprint. Look, there's a reason why people come back to Frenchmen Street again and again. It's an experience unlike anything else. It's raw, it's real, and it's unforgettable. Soak it up, enjoy the moment, and let the music move you. So, there you have it. New Orleans, baby. We've wandered through history, devoured some incredible food, and gotten lost in the music. And honestly, we've only scratched the surface. This city has so much to offer, it's impossible to capture it all in one trip, let alone one video. But hopefully, this gave you a taste of what makes New Orleans so special. It's a city that gets under your skin, stays with you long after you've left. It's the people, the culture, the energy, the history. It all comes together to create an experience that's unlike anything else. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. If you dug this video, do me a favor and smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more travel adventures and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next adventure. And if you enjoyed this video, stick around and check out the other travel videos on this channel. I hope New Orleans was as fun for you as it was for us. May your travel getaways always be pleasant and full of adventure. Until next time, laissez les bons temps rouler. Let the good times roll.